Hello, welcome to My Life in Pixels. My name's Frankie Ward. I'm sat in a hotel in Katowice and usually I record these intros at home, but I have the lovely Lottie Van-Praag sat opposite me, and rather than do an intro on my lonesome, I thought I'd get her in on the action.
Why not? Girl pals, right?
Exactly.
And that intro was so beautifully smooth, Frankie, by the way.
Thank you so much.
I'm super impressed with
Thank
that.
you so much. Been here 2 weeks. So welcome. You arrived yesterday because you're going to be doing the Intel Challenge. So You'll be desk hosting that. How much CS have you done in the past? You did Gfinity in the first series,
I did.
right?
The only CS I've ever done is the Gfinity Elite series, and that was the second season in, which was awesome because I got to see some rising stars of the scene, especially in the UK and all across Europe, so that was really nice to see, and it was my first glimpse of it. I was looking at this FPS game like, an economy? Are you serious? I was like, I have seen this before, but I was trying to get my head around it so much that I was like forcing a lot of the information down. So I went home, had a little play, decided to give it a go, and it was so fun. It was so fun. I'm actually not very much into sort of computer games. I'm not a keyboard player. I'm more of a console girl. But it was nice to just sort of like dip into the world of computers and PC gaming, and that was really awesome. And I'm kind of like stuck on it now. Like PC performs so much better, so I'm loving it. And I'm getting the chance to sort of talk about the female scene and have a look at that, and come to Katowice, and it's amazing here. So yeah, it's the big leagues here.
So you mentioned not so much of a computer gamer. So what was your first console? Was it the Xbox?
It was indeed, yeah, Xbox. It was Halo. My brother asked for one for Christmas when we were a lot younger. I actually don't know what age we were, but I remember being super young, not knowing what this thing was. He turned it on and we were just hooked, just playing constantly, just couldn't get us off it. Mum and Dad were like thinking to themselves, was this a mistake? You know, they should be outside breathing the fresh air, but they're inside the room just doing nothing but playing games. So yeah, Xbox is where I started.
That's quite nice though, because I remember in those days like couch co-op in FPS was still a thing, right?
Yeah.
Even in Halo 3 I think you could have split screen. So was it literally you and your brother doing a co-op campaign?
Yeah, it really was. So we had 2 controllers and it was co-op campaign, amazing stuff. I just remember I was getting so annoyed with him if he would kill too many people. Like just Jake, like let me have a go. I was so angry. So I was determined to get better, and I did. I mean, I don't think I'm better than him now at video games. I'm going to give him the credit. But talking about them, I think I win that one. So
does he get involved in video games professionally, or is he doing a sort of, I'm using quotation marks now, but like a normal job?
He has a normal job, but video games are definitely a massive part of his life. I think he would love to get into it. He's a lot shyer than I am though, so I don't think broadcasting would be the best way for him, but something to do with like management or something to do with teams and organisations would be more suited to him. But he plays video games all the time. He's a big Overwatch fan, so
really?
yeah.
Overwatch on console or PC?
PC.
Okay, right,
yeah,
fine. I'm not judging him.
He's
Jake,
a PC
you get a
player
pass.
now. He's a PC player.
He's a PC player. So where did you go after Halo? Did you stick with the shooters, or did you explore other genres?
I then went to Call of Duty. Got pretty hooked on that, especially the console, because that's definitely the next path to go down.
Which COD game?
Modern Warfare 2 was my next one. I really did enjoy that a lot. I sort of like felt like this was super different for me because it was a lot more realistic as well, which was a little bit exciting, a bit weird, a bit shocking. I was still pretty young at that time as well. But I remember my parents not letting me use the internet to play, so I could only play the campaign really. And occasionally my brother would sneak a router in for me, and I'd be able to play multiplayer, but very occasionally. Yeah, I was in a bit of a bubble, but I understand that.
That's good parenting, I think. So how old were you?
I can't remember. I honestly haven't got a clue how old I was. I was young enough for my dad to be like, no way. Yeah. So I'm not sure. But I mean, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was like 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not even a lick of mascara. It was killing me. All my other friends looked incredible, and I looked like just plain Jane, you know.
Oh, wow. But your parents did buy you an Xbox, so
they did.
That's like, it's
exactly.
like,
it's the equivalent.
Makeup or video games, right?
I know which one I'd choose every day.
I had to buy my first PlayStation myself, so. I had to buy my PlayStation. I bought my first gaming PC, although I started gaming on my dad's laptop when I was like 5, playing Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is Text Space and Monkey Island.
I love that.
So, and then I did a play in London and I got money from that, and the only thing I spent the money on when I was 9, when I actually originally earned it, was a PlayStation and probably some pick and mix. And then when I was 16, I got to take out a bit more money and I bought a gaming PC and a pair of skates.
Do you want to know how I actually managed to get my first PlayStation. So I had an Xbox, but I really wanted a PlayStation. Yeah. So I was in school, and I was walking down the halls. I saw this sort of a poster on my left-hand side, and it was like poetry competition about Christmas, and I was like, okay. And I just noticed this beautiful PlayStation at the bottom.
Was it PlayStation 2?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And it was, if you win the poetry competition, you win a PlayStation.
That's awesome.
That was it. I was
what an incentive.
Grabbed that poster. I was like, this is mine. Went home. I worked on this poem for such a long time. Would bring it back and forth with my parents. Like, can you check it for me? What do you think? Managed to win it. So
wow.
Personally, that is one of my biggest accomplishments to date. Like, I literally was so happy that I managed to win this PS.
And what stuff were you playing on the PlayStation 2? Because that, for me, that's like the ultimate console. The PlayStation 4 is incredible, and I love it. And it's stuff I play on PlayStation tends to be for me rather than stuff I stream.
Yeah.
But the PS2 was such a big deal when I finally got one, because I got one for Christmas and I'd wanted one. It'd been out for 3 years at that point, so that's where I first started playing Final Fantasy.
I was kind of playing weird games. I remember playing Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events on PlayStation.
Was that like an adaptation of the movie or the books?
It was. I think it was about the movie. I don't think it was so much about the books, but that was really fun. I remember being pretty excited with that because I enjoyed the movie a lot. Simpsons Hit and Run.
I think I remember that, but I never played it. So what was that like? What did you have to do?
It was really weird. It was like an open world Simpsons game, which I thought was awesome. And yeah, you could like get cars. You needed to like play out challenges in their lives. You could be different characters all the time. It was a good time burner, really. But I was really young. And I think my parents also like, okay, you can go and buy like your games, but you can't have like any of the violent games. But later on in life, they kind of understood that it really wasn't as bad as it seemed, especially when my brother started buying them. And my dad would try and join in, and he'd be like, actually, she can play this, like, it's fine, it's no problem at all. So, yeah, I mean, bit weird games at the beginning.
How do you feel when people talk about video games being violent correlating to the real world? Again, quotation marks.
I always find this such a tricky subject to even think about sometimes, because I remember when Fortnite blew up and everyone wanted something to talk about negatively for this game, and it was always that sort of violent, children are playing it. But again, you've got to remember there was no blood, there was no gore, but yes, you do have video games with that sort of extreme level of gore and blood and realism. I just think as long as you can remain aware that this is not real life, that this is a video game, it is for fun, it's always difficult. I think you've got to have the right mindset to sort of see that, and you can always say that about everything though, it's the real world. Unfortunately, you've got this idea from somewhere, that's because it does happen. And I think always if you keep in mind that you're always the sort of good person in the situation in the video game, then maybe you're not too bad off, but it's always a difficult one, especially with the games who do incorporate a lot of blood and gore and death.
I found it so interesting chatting to some of the guys I'm working with here at IEM about CS, and because when I was younger, one of the reasons I didn't start playing CS was partly because my then boyfriend had it but didn't want me to play it, and this is probably like 1.5 times, maybe even before that. And also because I was put off by the terrorist counter-terrorist thing. Yeah. And now I love CS. I'm terrible at playing it, so I don't really play it that much. I stick to playing arms race if I'm playing, which is testing out different guns and trying to get 2 kills with each of the weapons, and then it changes the weapon for you. Yeah. And then the winner is the person who gets 2 kills with the golden knife. So basically you go from having fairly powerful weapons to pistols and then to the knife at the end. And that's quite fun for me because I'm playing as an individual. And I love the team play element, but I want to play with people I know. But with CS, I was definitely put off by the concept of the terrorist counter-terrorist. And actually, when we talk about it on screen, we talk about it on the show, we don't actually say terrorist and counter-terrorist. We say CT&T.
Yeah, exactly.
So we almost like remove ourselves from that because the players are not thinking about like how they're killing people. They're thinking about how they're strategically moving around, they're rotating, they're getting kills with certain weapons. And if they're using a knife, okay, so using a knife on someone doing a bomb defuse in the smoke is A, hilarious, and B, does probably seem more violent, but it gets you more cash. So it's actually quite a tactical thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think you put that perfectly. I mean, especially the professional players, they're not thinking about what the storyline of the game they're playing is right now. They're thinking about the fact that they need to win a certain round. And they, you know, obviously with the different rounds and the different sides, CT, T side, yeah, they're very heavily different and influenced by different maps as well. But it's not about what it is. Like you said, we kind of taken the words out completely and sort of abbreviated them to make it a lot easier to realise that really it's not as violent as, you know, as it seems.
Exactly. So talk to me about how you got into Gfinity then, because I think I first saw you maybe in the first series when I went down just to check out some Rocket League. So that's where I first heard about you, and I was working at Twitch at the time. So it's maybe 2 years ago. So it was at the Fulham cinema that got turned into Gfinity Arena, right? So how did you start working for that?
Funny story. Sometimes it's about who you know in the right moment. So for me, that was very much what it was. I always knew I wanted to be a presenter of some sort, and I was adamant that it was going to be in something that I love and I'm passionate about, because I always feel like then, you know, that's how you break away and you get better, and, you know, you start making a name for yourself if you're actually loving what you do. So I met the right guy. Guys, the tea's arrived, just to let you know, the coffee and the tea. But, you know, I wanted to make some sort of movement in the presenting scene, and I started in traditional sports. So after university, I started working for BBC Wales, because South Wales is my hometown where my parents are. And I enjoyed it, but I just didn't feel like it was the right thing for me. I just didn't think I was in the right area. So I happened to meet a guy called Wyatt. He is very high up in Gfinity. He's like the global partnerships manager, and he's worked there for a number of years now, trying to push the company further. And he said, you know, I heard that you game, that you're a gamer. I was like, yes. This is literally the first conversation I had with him. I was like, yes, I do. I love it. He's like, are you interested in perhaps presenting at all? And I was like, well, definitely. I was like, I can't believe that, you know, I've been given this opportunity. So I jumped into a Call of Duty Last Chance qualifier event, literally 4 hours later, pretty much. I had no prep time, nothing, but luckily I knew about the game. Obviously I played it before. I mean, it was very nerve-wracking just because I felt so on the spot, but as soon as I got up there and I had the mic in my hand and I was talking to a player about what I'd just seen on the screen, I felt in my element completely. I felt comfortable, I felt happy. It was exciting and new. So yeah, I was hooked from then on, and they pretty much drew me up a contract from that weekend, and I signed it. So I started in May 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what is your full-time kind of title, I guess, at Gfinity? Because you're also freelancing, that's why you're here at IEM this weekend. Yeah. But what is your day-to-day at Gfinity?
So it was on-air talent and broadcast assistant. So that was my role at Gfinity, and yeah, it was awesome. I got to do all of their white label events that they were having coming in. It's how I, you know, got to be involved in FIFA, you know, CSGO, as you know, Rocket League, Street Fighter has been a really big part of my journey.
Gfinity's Elite Series, right?
Exactly.
And then the white label, for anyone listening who's not familiar with that term, that is when a production company basically produces something for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Under a different title. So me doing Red Bull, MEO, although I did tell you by ESL on the title, that's technically a white label event because it's for a brand, but it's produced by someone else.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of my biggest loves in life as well, I was introduced to because of Gfinity, was obviously Halo, because that was also a white label event for them. And yeah, I'm super grateful to be able to have worked on that and obviously making moves in that scene now as well. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favourite memories from Gfinity. Now, we're talking about Gfinity. So I did tell you before the podcast I had some news.
Yes.
Well, I don't actually work for Gfinity any longer since about 5 days ago.
Oh, wow.
So super new. But I've gone totally freelance, and I have a new agent in the US, and I'm actually moving over to the US in May.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Are you going to LA?
Well, I'm actually staying East Coast, so I'm moving.
New York kind of way?
Yes, exactly. Wow. So I'm really excited. Lots of new and exciting and big opportunities over there, and I find myself flying to America all the time. So I sort of made some conversations happen. I thought about it a lot. I mean, for many months it was sort of in my mind, and I decided just to take the leap, just take the risk and do it. So I'm really excited. And my new agents, RevXP, they work with Optic Gaming and Turtleworks, some really great names. So I'm really excited.
How did that happen? How did you make that huge decision? Because that's massive.
I think it was getting to a point where I was having a lot of work come through, but not being able to actually go and do it because of other work aligned with Gfinity, and that was fantastic too. But they were definitely opportunities that I really did want to go and take and make new decisions, see new esports, see new people, meet new people. And I don't think that if you're always constantly in one place, you can't really branch out as much as you'd like. And I did feel like that way. Although I'm always going to be forever grateful to Gfinity for giving me the opportunity to do this, because I did say to them, without you guys, I would never have been in this position. So yeah, it was a really tough decision, and I'd spoken to my boss about it a little bit as well when I was thinking about it, and I think he knew it was coming, but he just wasn't sure when. So yeah, I took the risk. I just think if you don't take risks in life, you'll never know, and I hate not knowing things. So yeah. That was probably my next move anyway.
I mean, you're also so young as well, so it's a good time to do it. But are you going to be staying with friends in New York? I'm sounding like your mum now.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm actually staying with family friends.
Oh,
so just to get settled in. So my parents are super happy about that. But yeah, just going to be staying with family friends, getting used to it, having a look at the US ropes and seeing how it all works, because I know it's very different to Wales and the UK in general. But I'm super excited. Obviously, as you know, and I'm sure you've been as well, but we've been to America a lot of times before. So I'm fairly used to it now. But I've got my eyes on the prize, the goals in sight, and I just want to get over there and start working. So.
What are the goals?
Oh well, those are difficult. But I think for now it's to continue to work on Halo for me. That's a huge priority in my life. Now being the only female desk host they've ever had, and being able to work on that show, and I'm actually being able to cast now a little bit on the desk and analyse, and I feel really, really passionate about it, especially because it's where I started too in esports myself. So I want to keep pushing that, and I've had a lot of talks with Microsoft, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable there, and I just want to keep going and pushing that as far as I can. And then obviously Call of Duty, I would love to get involved with that. I had a couple of conversations, so we'll see where it goes. But I do have goals in sight, but I can't really reveal too much at the moment because it's all on the cards. But we'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. I'll keep my eyes peeled on CWL and see. Hopefully you'll pop up. But you just message me so I know to watch. But at Gfinity, what did you learn there? Because you were working with a lot of people who, I guess, were probably more established than you when you started out, right? Because I know that Thorin, for example, Duncan Shields, he was working on the first season of Counter-Strike, so you must have been working with people who had quite a lot of background in terms of esports, right? So what did you learn from working with people like that?
Totally, you hit the nail on the head there. To be honest, I actually started at Gfinity as a total amateur. I didn't know any broadcasting terms, I didn't know anything, let's be honest there. And I do think that if you want to get good at something, it's just a learning process and keep at it. But like you said, I had some incredible people around me constantly, every weekend, to be able to look at and learn from. And I just pretty much squeeze myself into the green room, sit down, and be a bit of a nuisance and just have a chat with people and ask them about their experiences and how they started and what they did to get better and their sort of learning techniques. And just by even at the beginning in season 1, I actually wasn't even on the show for CSGO, so I made a point of becoming the sort of face of social media for Gfinity, and the face behind the camera too. So I bought myself online some little mics, some lapels to stick into my phone, not even joking, so I could get involved and speak to people and learn about them without being too much of a creeper. So yeah, it was really cool. They were telling me how you just got to have this sort of confidence about yourself, go away, research, think about what the viewers at home would want to know, what they'd want to hear from you, and think about what you don't know and make sure you learn it. So I was really inspired by a lot of people I met. I mean, I met Pansy, I met Machine. They're incredible.
Yes, they are. They're awesome.
Still doing incredible stuff now. So yeah, I was a little bit dazzled by the sort of stars that we had in the room, but I was able to get as much information as possible. And I think the main thing I took away was from that is to be yourself. Don't try and be someone else. Don't watch another host or another interviewer and think, okay, I need to do that specific thing. Take it into your own hands, your own body and mind, and then produce the content that you know you can. And I think that's the most important thing.
How do you get ready for an event? Like, how have you prepped for the Intel Challenge here at IEM?
So I do thorough research. I feel terrible if I haven't done any research. I really, really need to make sure I know my stuff going into it. So for this particular event, for the Intel Challenge, I watched the entire Intel Challenge from last year, made notes about it, looked at the teams, and then I also called a couple of the players who are going to be here, some of the girls who are playing, to talk about their changes, what they feel that they've done over that year to get better. And I know there's been a lot of roster swaps. There've been some interesting roster swaps too that we'll talk about over the weekend. But yeah, it was just about getting inside their heads as well. I think I can't really talk about them personally if I don't know what they're thinking or feeling. So I thought that was super important. And I just watched a lot of CS just to remain focused, because I haven't watched CS for a little bit. I've watched it here and there, but I've been focusing on, you know, a lot of other titles that I've been trying to sort of get under my belt as well. So yeah, it's just a lot of research, a lot of writing. I write everything down in a book. I have books for every single esport as well.
Oh wow.
I just feel like it goes in, it like gets sucked into my head. All the information comes off the page and goes straight into my head. So yeah, a bit of a weird ritual about research. And then specifically for the event, I'm a bit weird. I like cleaning my teeth a lot before the event.
Oh really?
I don't know why. I don't even know why.
That's a new one. I've never heard that one on this podcast.
Yeah, I clean my teeth like maybe 3 times before I go live. It's a bit weird. Yeah, I honestly don't know why, but I just do it.
Like, do you eat between you're cleaning your teeth? Or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Sometimes, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Sometimes I do.
So you never had a moment
when
2
times in a row. Sometimes it can be 3 times in a row.
You never got caught out on camera with some spinach or something. This is just.
I haven't. No, not ever.
I can't imagine you getting caught out.
I've definitely made sure of that. I don't know why. I think it's a way to cope with maybe a little bit of nerves or jitters before. But I just feel like prepared. I feel like because it's one of the last things I do, to just feel like, okay, I'm ready now. I can smile, can be happy, can speak, and I have good breath. Yeah. Minty fresh.
Minty fresh. That is the essential. You don't want to you don't want to make your analysts veer away
dive
from you.
under the desk and just hide in a corner. No.
Yeah. I definitely feel really paranoid when I'm doing interviews, and I run out of minty. God, sorry, my voice is so snotty. Everyone listening to this, I apologise. I need to get some mints before today, because I'm always so terrified, and catering has never got like some kind of fresh breath option. No, so I think I'm interviewing simple, like first today probably for the first quarterfinals, because it starts with Navi versus FaZe.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
It should be good. FaZe aren't on form, Navi been up and down, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen, but hopefully I'm going to kick off by interviewing Simple, because he's a fun, cheeky interview. But yeah, I'm definitely paranoid just in case
You'll be fine. Just take the toothbrush tactic and you'll be great.
Yeah, I just need to get some mints at some point, so I need to do my research and get out there. I think for me, my research, I do watch VODs back, but I look at results and numbers, right? So I tend to kind of go on HLTV for CSGO, and I go on Wikipedia and things like that. But the nice thing I'm finding at the moment is if I'm going to change CS events, then I've already got the research and I've already got it in my brain, whereas going with different games, like I've done 4 new games so far this year, plus CS, plus racing. So actually technically that was new as well. So basically 5 new subjects, and we're partway through February.
Yeah. Well,
and it is
2K19 is your year, Frankie.
Oh, it sounds like it's going to be yours as well, Lottie. But what do you find is the best way to learn a new game? Is it simply to play it?
Do you know what? Actually, yes, 100%. I think, you know, like I said before with CS, when I was sort of first introduced to it properly, I was like, I really can't get my head around this. Just because I was already watching play that was so advanced for me and my head that I just didn't understand. I really had to go back to the beginning. And by jumping on and playing yourself, it definitely is the best way. I mean, look at brand new games that come out. You know, you learn by playing them. You learn as you go.
You certainly do with something like Apex. Everyone keeps talking about it being an esport when it's only been out a few weeks. But
exactly.
But yeah, something like that.
That's how you learn it. Exactly. Yeah. And I think also obviously playing yourself is a lot different to watching pros play. Mm-hmm. So then maybe watching their stream. I love watching a stream. I think it's fantastic for research. Not only is it fun and engaging, so the information really does sink in, but you can just see how that they're playing, how their mind works. And scrimmages as a team that are streamed online too are fantastic. So those are my like go-tos. And then for example, with the Intel Challenge, I just never seen an Intel Challenge before, especially in the female scene, and I'm guilty of that. But boy, they're good. Oh my goodness, they're amazing. I am so excited now after watching last year's, because I feel like they're just getting better and better. So yeah, for me, it was just a bit new, and I wanted to just see it all the way through. Yeah. I definitely think that's the long route to do, but if you need to, just do it.
Do you see a difference in play style in terms of the women's scene and the I don't want to call it the men's scene because women can play as part of it, but should we say the tier 1 scene, should we say?
Definitely. I think there is a little bit of a difference. I don't think the skill gap is particularly big at all. I think they're just as good and they look fantastic with what they're doing. I just think there's different sort of mindsets there. I do think there's a sort of male way of thinking and a female way of thinking for sure, and I think that is a little bit noticeable. I just think tactics are slightly different, and I wouldn't say there's a latter end of that at all. I think they're just different in themselves. But it is very interesting that I'm picking up on certain ways that they're moving around the map or doing certain things, or their instincts as well is a big one too. But I think for me both really impress me, and yeah, I personally think the female scene are very underestimated for sure after watching back last year's.
Yeah. I think I'm going to break this podcast on March the 7th, so on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, it's International Women's Day, so I don't always talk to female guests about being a woman in esports, but I thought I'd be cheeky and use the opportunity to ask you how you found it.
I think, I mean, this conversation is always difficult, but it's always...
Yeah, and we get asked about it so much, right?
We do.
But normally by men rather than by each other.
Exactly, I was about to say, it's so nice to be able to actually sit down with somebody who probably feels the same way as I do.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is that sort of, there is that gender gap still in esports, just because of the way gaming has been and the way it started, because a lot of people are saying this industry is new. It's actually not that new. It's been around for a while. It's just a lot of the general public haven't realised that it was there. Yeah. And it definitely has blown up recently. But a lot of boys were playing video games when they were younger. I think, when I was young, I was kind of, a Barbie doll was pushed in my hand and a controller was pushed in my brother's. Yeah. And it wasn't until I walked into my brother's room and thought, I want to do this, that I was like, okay, I'm sure girls can do this too. Yeah. And I just think it's building and building, but I still think that we are treated slightly differently. I still think, there's this whole online battle. I mean, I've watched a few YouTube videos and I'm guilty of, sort of putting the fire under the belt a little bit as well by watching them and adding to that count. But, seeing the way that some of the guys speak to girl gamers online. I watched a girl play Rainbow Six Siege, and she was phenomenal. She was an incredible player, and the second she spoke in game,
it all jumped into her,
I can't, there isn't a word for it, Frankie. Not one for this podcast anyway. But it was terrible. It was horrible, the way that they spoke to her and the way that they made her feel. But, power to her, because she just stuck through it. She laughed it off, or would put them in their place and just carry on and just show why she's such a good player.
Who's a Twitch streamer, she's put out some videos of her playing Rainbow Six Siege and having people jump on her, and I remember that incident recently because I watched that video. I can't remember the lady's name, but I think now there's a social kind of aggregator content production page. They put out a video with her as well. Yeah. And it is interesting. I played Counter-Strike. I played in comp the other night because when you play in casual, you basically, if you want to play one of the competitive maps, you're stuck on Dust 2 with 10v10. And no one tends to speak English. I always end up playing with Russian users. Nothing wrong at all with that, because I have a lot of followers in Russia according to my Instagram stats. But and I actually do need to learn some. So privyet to anyone Russian listening to this. But I was trying to hold weapons and save them and things like that for the next round, because we were CT side and they were just splitting every single time and no one was really anchoring, and so I was often the last one left, and then they just voted me off kind of thing, because they didn't like the fact that I wasn't just going for kills. I was waiting for the kills to come to me. Yeah. And I just remember after that I just was like, I can't do it now. I can't do it. I can't play with people I don't know. Yeah. So part of me is like, do I want to spend my spare time playing something that I would enjoy but I'm not able to?
Yeah.
Or should I just stick to watching pros play and you know, keep absorbing the game that way? So I think I've decided with Counter-Strike, unless it's I'm just not going to play comp anymore on it, and that is my decision. Like, I could stick at it and try, but for now I'm going to step back from it.
I totally feel where you're coming from, and I think, like, considering our jobs, you'd think we're the most confident people ever, but when it comes to stuff like that, I do feel that sort of level of nervousness that, you know, playing with people I don't know. I remember trying to play Call of Duty, Black Ops, and my gamer tag was Nerd Slayer, and I mean, it's still my gamer tag for Xbox, which is really fun.
I love that.
But at the time, it was to seem like I didn't care. You know, I could have potentially been a boy with that gamer tag, and it's most likely I probably was at the time to many people playing against me. And I just didn't want to speak. I remember speaking a couple of times and it just not going well for me. So I just decided just to, you know, mic off totally and completely. And it got to a point where I was just not enjoying myself. I couldn't speak to my teammates. I didn't know what was going on. So I just didn't want to play anymore. You know, I'd rather have a squad. And I mean, I still kind of feel that way. I still would just this level of like anxiety trying to play with people I don't know and speak to people I don't know, especially them being like, oh, grill, you know, and it's like,
oh god, I hate that word.
Same. I mean, it's just something that I don't find pleasure in, so I totally see where you're coming from there. And I don't know whether there will be a day that I'll just step on the mic again, but we'll see. Hopefully. I think it's going to change in the future, and I think Fortnite is great, actually. I feel like it does encourage girls to play as well as boys. I think that's really encouraging, and I think that's potentially going to change things for the FPS scene in the future, so that's really nice to see. Splatoon, we had a mixed roster at the Nordic Regional Finals, which I hosted in January. I didn't mention that it was a mixed roster when I was hosting, because I didn't want to draw attention to that fact. I just wanted that to, you know, I just wanted them to play and do well. Should get to a point where you don't have to at all, like you said, you know, that would be lovely. You don't have to say anything, you're just expecting it.
And Overwatch, I mean, Overwatch I sometimes had, I remember this kid in America, I was playing in the Twitch office, and it was like 8 a.m. US time, but, you know, jet lag. And this kid was like, wow, I'm playing with a girl. But he was actually really positive about it.
Yeah.
Whereas some other guy was like, turn your mic off, your voice is annoying.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you can mute my mic if my voice is annoying.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to turn it off because I'm shot calling.
Exactly.
So, you know, it definitely, you have to just decide sometimes whether to fight the battle or not.
Exactly. So there's the good and the bad, and that is the way I think life always works.
So before I let you go, talk to me about the games you're playing most at the moment.
Well, we have mentioned it slightly before, but
Halo.
I am playing a little bit of Halo, not too much, but a little bit. I'm kind of excited for the new game drop, so Infinite. I cannot wait for Infinite to come out, so that's kind of what I'm saving my Halo energy up for at the moment, but mostly watching people play at the moment. But I am on that Apex train, I'm afraid. I am playing
Nothing's
Apex
wrong with
a lot.
that. Why are you apologising? That's great.
It's very cliche, but I cannot put it down. So I played that a lot. It's kind of, I enjoy the fact that it's a brand new game. I think everybody loves a brand new game. And it pretty much came out of nowhere as well. So for me, I was kind of like, right, I've got to do this. Let's get on. Got my squad. I actually played with my brother as part of my squad.
Aww.
So that's really nice. We've kind of grown up. You know, he's now 21, I'm 24, and we still play video games online pretty much every night together with our friends. So it's pretty cool.
Are you playing on console or PC now?
I am playing. Well, I started playing it on PC to get used to it, and I actually had a lot of fun. But now I play PC with the controller plugged into the PC, and just see how it goes. I mean, obviously I don't get like aim assist or anything like that, but I like a challenge and it's fun. But I think I need to get a better PC if I want to start playing PC games, which is on my agenda to do so when I move over to the US.
You've got to get used to those WASD keys.
Oh, do you know what? It's my problem, right?
Everything
else is fine. I just can't. It's just. I can only press the W key.
Trust me. It's weird at first. Like, I had to learn when I first joined Twitch, and I had to learn Overwatch. That was really the first FPS I properly engaged with and played. And at first it was absolutely horrendous. And then now it's just normal. It's just natural to me.
Natural.
I remember like the second time I played, Ian Cole, who now works in the San Francisco office, but was in the UK office at the time. He was like, I am going to disown you if you plug a controller in. I was like, Ian, please.
Is this like
he was like, no. And I did start off by playing Tracer, who's quite a twitchy character, and she's still my main DPS. But maybe I should have started with like Soldier 76. So and actually, it starts to come more naturally, right?
Yeah.
I'm still getting into MOBAs, so I struggle a little bit with those because I need to learn like the Q, W, and R keys and that kind of thing. That's something that's still coming to me.
Yeah.
But FPS is just so natural now.
It is. I mean,
touch type.
I was actually at home when Apex dropped, and my brother doesn't have any consoles at home anymore. He's just pure PC. And I was desperate to have a go, so I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the first couple of hours, I was really struggling. I was looking down the whole time. I couldn't see anything. It was just a mess. Then I started getting used to it. I had like that sort of movement, and I knew where things were sort of automatically. But it's still that I can only really move forward, and I'm using my mouse to sort of like show where I'm going, etc. So I really need to try and get those the WSD keys down now. It's going to take some time, Frankie, but I am trying. I'm pushing through.
Do it. Get yourself a computer when you get to New York.
I will. I'll get myself a proper computer.
Yeah.
And give it a proper go. So and hopefully I'm going to start streaming soon.
Wicked.
But I've told myself I'm not streaming until I'm fully like happy with my PC setup and how I'm working it. So
hit me up when you're playing PC multiplayer, and we'll jump on a game together.
100%.
Amazing. Good luck.
Thank you.
With the Intel Challenge, and good luck with the move. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you very
and
much.
And tease a bit jealous. New York is amazing.
Oh, you have to come visit.
Yeah.
You have an excuse now. You come stay
my
here.
God.
Free place.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. We'll do it.
Amazing.
We'll do it.
Thank
brilliant.
you so much, Frankie. Also, best of luck this weekend as well. You've been crushing it recently. I just want to make sure everybody listening knows how well your girl Frankie's doing. She's doing unbelievable. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm going to turn my snotty voice off now.